My name is Susan Miller. I'm 47 years old. I've been married to John for 25 years. Our family includes John, who is also 47, and our daughter Emily, who is in high school. But something happened because of John that almost broke our family apart. It all began when John forgot his phone at home one day when he went to work. He's always on that thing during meals. It's no wonder he leaves it behind sometimes. When I picked up his phone, I saw messages from a woman I didn't know. "Are you coming over today or staying with your wife? I need to talk to you, Mia, so please come over." What is all this? I panicked as I read the shocking messages. Then my husband John, realizing he'd forgotten his phone, returned home. "Do you know where my phone is? It looks like I left it at home." "Come on, if you have it, just give it back. I'm going to be late for work." What's going on? Who's this legal wife? And who's Mia? When I confronted him, John seemed surprised at first but then sighed heavily and began to explain. "I was planning to tell you about this. I had everything prepared, but I guess getting caught now is probably the right timing." "The right timing? What do you mean?" "Just like you're thinking, I have a mistress. Those messages you saw were from her." "What? You've been cheating? For how long?" "I guess it's been over 15 years now." "Over 15 years?" "Yeah, her daughter is in junior high school now. She's technically my child. She would be Emily's half-sister. She's facing high school entrance this year. It's going to be tough. So I'm planning to divorce you and marry her. I intend to support my daughter as a father." I couldn't understand what John was saying at all. "Daughter Emily is your daughter too, isn't she? Don't you care about her?" I didn't say I didn't care about her. Emily has been my precious daughter for 17 years too, but I don't plan to take her with me. It would be awkward to have a daughter who's not biologically related to her mother and the family, you know. Everyone would feel uncomfortable. So I'll leave Emily to you. In return, I'll make sure to pay child support until she graduates from college. And if Emily reaches out, I'll be willing to talk. So that should be fine, right? Are you serious? I'm dead serious. In fact, I think I'm offering a pretty good deal. Oh, and here, I shouldn't forget to give this to you. What's this? I've already filled in my part, so just write down yours and submit it. Let me know once you file the divorce papers. I'll come to pick up my stuff once the divorce is finalized. Wait a minute. What are you saying? You're not coming back? Yeah, I'll be living at her place from now on. I'll talk to my folks. You just take care of Emily and don't do anything unnecessary. Well then, thanks for the last 25 years. Take care. Hey, just wait. John handed me a divorce paper and left the house in his usual attire for work. I'm sure her place must have been prepared with all the living necessities for him. How could this? What am I supposed to do now? What's wrong? Why are you upset so early in the morning? Did something happen? My daughter Emily, who was home for the school holiday, came over to me as I was feeling distressed. I shouldn't have burdened her with such heavy news, but in that moment, I ended up telling her everything. Dad has a mistress. He gave me this and left. What? Cheating? And this is a divorce paper? Is Dad serious about this? Why would he? He apparently has another child with his mistress. A child? So I have a half-sister? Yes, from another mother. And what did he say about it? He said he'll pay child support to take care of you. What about apologies to you? Well, you're the one most affected, Mom, and there are no apologies. What is he thinking? After hearing my story, Emily bit her lip, thinking for a moment before responding. I see. If Dad's going to act like this, then we'll have to come up with our own plan. Huh? What do you mean? Don't worry, it's nothing dangerous. Since Dad seems to have no remorse for betraying us for over 15 years, we'll make sure he deeply regrets what he did. But of course, that requires some planning. But Mom, you're not blaming yourself for Dad's actions, are you? It's all Dad's fault. You don't need to feel guilty. We don't need to hold back. As we watch Dad face the consequences, he's getting what he deserves. So it's only fair that we make sure Dad understands the pain he's caused, right? Well, my daughter is actually the smartest kid in the USA. Her intelligence has amazed adults since she was little. She probably already has a plan in mind for this. Just wait, Mom. I promise I'll make Dad regret what he did. With that, Emily wore a mischievous smile. A month later, Emily and I had settled into our new routine, just the two of us. The door creaked open, and in walked my husband John, but with patches of his hair shaved off as if by a clipper. The first thing he said was, "What the hell were you thinking?" Dad stormed into the house with clippers in hand. "After hearing everything from you, look what you've done to me," he said, pointing at his patchy haircut. John went on a tirade. He explained how he was relaxing at his mistress's house when suddenly his father showed up with clippers and gave him an unplanned haircut. Then he managed to escape and rushed back home in this state just to give me a piece of his mind. "I warned you, didn't I? I talked to Dad, so you weren't supposed to do anything unnecessary. You know how much Dad hates dishonesty. He's always been strict with me because of that, and it's been traumatic. Despite knowing that, you still went and told on me. Are you jealous? Jealous that we might be happy while you're stuck in misery? Is that why you haven't filed for divorce yet? Then you spill everything to Dad. You're truly pathetic. The reason I cheated was because I couldn't stand the sight of you, you coward. That's when it happened. What are you misunderstanding? It wasn't Mom who told Grandpa everything. It was me," my daughter calmly responded to the raging John. "What? So Grandpa attacked with clippers, huh? Just as I expected." "What do you mean, as expected? Emily, did you tell Grandpa to attack me with clippers?" "No, I didn't say that. I just handed something to Grandpa, proof of your affair. This goes back a month." "Hey Mom, what do you think is the scariest thing to Dad in this world?" Soon after John left, Emily asked me that question. The scariest thing to him? Yes, that would be Grandpa. I once asked Dad what he was most afraid of in this world. He immediately answered Dad. I had also heard about it before. My father-in-law detests dishonesty above all and wouldn't hesitate to correct anyone behaving improperly, even strangers. John was raised strictly by my father-in-law since childhood and said he could never go against him. Dad said before he left, "I'll talk to Dad about it, so don't do anything unnecessary." That's because the last thing Dad wanted was for Grandpa to find out about this situation. So I'm pretty sure Dad won't tell Grandpa the real reason for the divorce. He might say we just couldn't agree on things, or worse, he might even claim he cheated. That's terrible. That's why we need to act first to prevent that from happening. Plus, there's another benefit to telling Grandpa first. Dad is an employee at the company Grandpa runs. Dad got the job through connections, thanks to Grandpa, and has climbed up to the position of manager. Can you imagine what would happen if Grandpa, who hates dishonesty, found out about Dad's affair and secret child of over 15 years? It's going to be a big mess, maybe even a trigger for Dad to get fired. Dad seems to have earned some trust at his company, but Grandpa is definitely Dad's Achilles heel. That's why I plan to use this to our advantage and push Dad into the depths of hell. But first, I need to gather solid evidence of the affair to make Grandpa understand. Saying that, Emily opened the laptop Dad had left behind. Evidence. How are you going to? Normally, you'd need a detective agency to catch evidence of an affair. And there's probably a password on that laptop, right? I doubt you'd leave anything compromising on it. Normally, yes, but I don't need any of that. There's no point in paying someone to find something that's right here. Saying that, my daughter dismissed my concerns and rapidly typed on the keyboard, managing to unlock it in just a few seconds. She then extracted all the relevant information contained within. Wow, you really unlocked it. Well, of course. This is nothing for me now. Let's see what kind of evidence Dad left on this laptop. From their exchanges, it looks like Dad's mistress was an ex-girlfriend they reconnected. When I was still in your belly, Mom, that reunion sparked an affair that lasted over 15 years. Look, here's a photo. Dad's mistress seems to be this woman. Mom, do you recognize her? The photo Emily showed me was one of Dad and his mistress looking very close. I had seen the woman in the photo before. She's Dad's childhood friend. She got married early and moved away from her hometown. But after her divorce, she came back. I met her once when we visited his parents. I see. So she came back to town, and that's when the affair started. I'm truly appalled by my own father. Suddenly, Emily froze upon seeing a particular photo. What's wrong? Did you find something? Look at this. Emily looked at a photo of a girl who appeared to be the hidden child. Probably this is my half-sister, Dad's secret child. Are you okay? If it's too hard for you, Mom can take over, and you don't have to do this anymore, Emily. No, it's not that I mind. I want to see this through to the end. Saying that, Emily turned back to the computer. It seems like this girl hasn't been officially recognized as Dad's child. He hasn't acknowledged her. Well, that makes sense. He was probably planning to acknowledge her after the divorce. I'm not sure if this girl knows about us yet, as Dad said. It's confirmed he has a secret child, but I found out something else that's shocking. Shocking? Dad seems to have bought them a condo. What? A condo? Yes, a new condo right in front of the station. Given the location and it's a high-rise, it must be quite expensive. Oh look, the price is listed online. When I checked the price of the condo my husband bought for his mistress, it was a whopping $1 million. On the other hand, we live in a rental condo I've been leasing since my single days. We discussed buying a house many times, but his consistent response was renting is more cost-effective. So there was this reason behind it. Is that all the information? I was expecting a bit more, honestly. Isn't this enough? It's sufficient, but I wanted more concrete evidence, like photos of them coming out of a hotel. The information we got from this computer includes the mistress and the hidden child's names and photos, and the fact that Dad bought a condo for his mistress. How about we make a direct visit to the condo? If we capture photos of them coming out, that could serve as evidence. Aren't you curious about what kind of life they're leading? Saying that, Emily grinned mischievously. The next day, we headed to the condo where we presumed Dad was staying. The condo looks bigger than in the photos. Really, it's surprising he had enough money to buy a condo for his mistress. Where did he get the money? Mom, isn't that Dad? Looks like they're heading out as a family, Emily pointed. And there were Dad, his mistress, and the hidden child. I quickly captured their image on my camera. From the outside, they look like a normal family. You wouldn't think he's been having an affair for 15 years. They must be considered a happy family by the neighbors. At that moment, we overheard a conversation from the three passing right by our hiding spot. Hey, when's the divorce going to be finalized? You shoved the divorce papers at your official wife before leaving, right? Yeah, but she seems reluctant. Hasn't got any message that she submitted the divorce papers, even though I said I'd pay alimony. What's she hesitating for? Maybe she still has feelings for you, who knows? But even if that's true, you're the only one for me since the beginning. I have no intention of getting back with her, John. Hey Dad, what about me? I'm more important than that other daughter, right? Of course you're my only daughter, Mia. Yay, I don't care if she goes to some famous high school or whatever. Dad chose me. I wonder what kind of face she's making now, being abandoned by Dad. Poor thing. Hearing their outrageous conversation left us astounded. Then, I thought she didn't know since she's not recognized, but she knew about us. No need to hold back then. Let's not just plunge Dad into hell, but those two as well. Emily seemed even more determined to seek revenge after overhearing their talk, glaring at the three with a wrathful expression. But it's good we came here. We got a video of the three leaving the condo, and thanks to their chatter so close to us, we caught their entire conversation. With this evidence, I bet we can demand a much higher amount, and Grandpa won't stay silent for sure. With that evidence in hand, we went to a law firm to draft the claim documents. For the finishing touch, Emily and I headed to my in-laws' house. It's rare for you to visit without notice, and just the two of you at that. Something happened. Actually, I shared everything that had occurred with my in-laws, Mike and Lily. Mike started trembling and then exploded in rage. Over 15 years of cheating, and he even has a secret child. That bastard, where is he now? He's been at his mistress's place since he left in the condo he bought her, right in front of the station. What? When Dad said, my daughter is only Mia. Only you, does Dad hate me? After living together all this time, he values that woman's child more. And if Mom and Dad get divorced, does that mean I'm no longer Grandpa and Grandma's granddaughter? I don't want that, Emily. That's not going to happen. Even if they get divorced, you're our only granddaughter. Don't worry. Grandpa will make sure he pays for this. His expression was exactly like Emily's that time. He had a look of burning vengeance on his face. And then, a few days after we left his house, Mike, armed with a clipper, raided the apartment where he was staying. That's how we got to this point. You did this. Sorry to shock you, but I have something to give you. With that, I handed my ex-husband a brown envelope. What's this? Open it, you'll see. He hesitantly opened the envelope and turned pale upon seeing the contents. What? Why? Inside the brown envelope were documents related to child support and division of property. Why? You're wondering why Dad did warrants paying this entire amount, right? I can't understand why you'd question that, but this amount is just since you seem not to understand. Let me explain. It was determined by several factors. I think what Dad has to pay Mom is fair. For that amount, I still have an issue with the amount, but this division of property is absurd. Why do I have to sell the condo I bought? That's ridiculous. I thought you'd say that. What? The condo you bought for your mistress in your name is subject to division of property. That's a well-established fact. It's not something you can argue against. What about them then? You're not telling me they have to leave, are you? Exactly. If a house is being sold, the people living there need to leave. You're heartless. I'll throw those words right back at you. After all these 15 years, you've really outdone yourself in deceiving us, you coward. You seem quite unhappy with these documents, but no matter what you say here, Dad's wishes won't be met. These aren't documents we made up. They were professionally drafted by a lawyer we hired. So if you have any issues with the amount, why don't you hire a lawyer yourself and file an appeal? Whether that will be successful or not, I can't say. Hearing this, my husband blurted out, Okay, I get it. I'll break it off with her and move out of that condo. That's what you want, right? Apparently, the idea of paying hefty alimony was too much for him. He said he'd break up with her and return home. However, things didn't go as he had hoped. Break up? Move out? Do as you like. It's no longer my concern. Not your concern. This is about us. We're married. We should talk more. Are you misunderstanding something? We're nothing to each other anymore, complete strangers. What are you saying? But you haven't submitted the divorce papers yet. That's only because I've been too busy dealing with your mess to get in touch. I submitted the divorce papers the day you left, so we're already divorced. What? Too bad, Dad. It's too late. The divorce papers have been processed, and you two are divorced. As for the documents, we'll be claiming accordingly. Damn it. And don't forget about the child support payments. I heard it from Mom. You said it yourself, right? That as a father, you would diligently pay child support until I graduate from college. Thinking back, I can't recall any fatherly things you've done for me, but at least for this last part, be responsible and live up to your word, Dad. Jan was left speechless by Emily's words. Then, that moment came. A call came through on my phone. It was John's father, Mike, probably anticipating that the ex-husband had stormed back to me. He called, and his guess was spot on. Seeing that I was on the phone with his father, the ex-husband's face turned pale. Mike wants to talk to you, Dad. No, tell him I'm not here. That's impossible. Besides, Dad knows you're here, so avoiding him now will only make things worse later, won't it? Reluctantly, he took the phone and started talking. Dad, what do you want? I didn't. Why do I have to come home? Wait just a minute. Hey, what did he say? He said I have to come home because he has something to talk about. Well, you better go then. Go? Are you kidding? If I go to Dad, I'm finished. What should I do? But fretting about it here isn't going to help, is it? What do you mean? Grandpa said you're fired. Why? I don't know the details, but if it's serious enough for a firing warning over an affair, you must have done something quite bad, right? Well, looks like you do have an idea by that expression. Then you better hurry to Grandpa's place. Hearing his daughter's words, the ex-husband rushed out of the house in a panic. It seems his position meant everything to him after all. Dad, that was quicker than expected. I heard from Emily. Are you serious about firing me, Dad? Just because of this affair, which has nothing to do with work. And now you're firing me? This is clearly wrongful dismissal. Wrongful dismissal? Have you forgotten all the mistakes you've made? Unauthorized absences, being late, trouble with employees at partner companies are everyday occurrences. Other employees had to clean up your messes while you strolled around like you own the place because you're the president's son and the presumed next president. It's only natural you be laid off for this. This is a fair decision. But so suddenly. True, I've turned a blind eye until now because you're my son. But that ends today. What do you mean by that? After today, I'm cutting ties with you. You betrayed the two people you should have cherished most, trying to find happiness just for yourself. You're no longer my son or anything to me. Never show your face to me again. No, this can't be true. To my father-in-law's declaration, the ex-husband was fired. Furthermore, being told that their familial bond was severed, he collapsed to his knees, screaming in agony. When my father-in-law told us this, Emily and I high-fived each other. However, a few days later, he did as Emily suggested and hired a lawyer to dispute my claims, but his appeal was rejected. In the end, he had to pay exactly as I initially demanded. It seemed John's mistress was entirely dependent on the ex-husband's salary, being a part-time housewife with a meager monthly income. Hence, I admit to what I've done and I'm reflecting on it, but I can't pay such an amount. Half? No, even a 30% reduction would be appreciated. She pleaded for a reduction, as if haggling at a market, but I rejected it. Eventually, her parents had to pay off the debt in her stead. Thus, even though he got his wish to remarry his mistress, he ended up in a terrible living situation. Of course, the hidden child who was supposed to enroll in high school couldn't do it due to her parents' self-inflicted plight. As for us, then, Mom, I'm going to take care. You too. It's really dangerous out there these days. I know, Emily. If anything happens, make sure to contact me. Even if nothing happens, I'll still check in often, and I'll come back home, even if you get tired of me. Since then, Emily has been attending a university and is living on her own for the first time today. But I'm not too worried. After everything she's managed to pull off almost single-handedly, I'm sure she can overcome anything that comes her way. Get out already, they demanded, their voices cutting through the tense air of the house. Yeah, give us this house already, echoed the demand, leaving Kathy feeling like a stranger in her own home. I can't believe this is happening in my own house, Kathy thought, her heart heavy with disbelief. But if you really want this house, I'll give it to you. Just you wait and see, she resolved silently, steeling herself for what might come next. My name is Kathy Smith. I just turned 60 this year, she reminded herself, drawing on her inner strength. I got divorced when I was young. My ex-husband was a heavy drinker and he used to verbally and physically abuse me, Kathy reflected, her past pains still haunting her. When he started to raise his hand against our children, I served him with divorce papers, she recalled, the memories still vivid in her mind. After that, I single-handedly put our 2 children through college, Kathy continued, pride mingling with the pain of her past. Now, I continue to work in flower arrangements, a job I've always enjoyed, she stated, finding solace in her passion. Also, I've started online lessons a few years ago and have been enjoying the new interactions, Kathy added, a glimmer of excitement in her voice. My eldest son, Max, who has always lived at home, married a woman 2 years older than him, Kathy shared, her thoughts drifting to her family dynamics. I thought that they would move out, but they asked to live with me. Since there was no particular reason to refuse, I agreed to live together. The 3 of us, Kathy recounted, the weight of her decisions evident in her words. My eldest son's wife, Anna, was quiet and not good at housework. She started learning it from me, and I thought she was a good girl, Kathy reminisced, a tinge of disappointment coloring her memories. But now, her initial image is gone, and her true nature is fully exposed in front of me. She talks bad and has a foul attitude, but in front of my son she acts like a quiet and good wife, Kathy lamented, the betrayal of trust weighing heavily on her heart. The house where she learned she only does laundry for her clothes. The rest is left undone, Kathy observed, the reality of her situation sinking in. This is supposed to be the house where I've lived for many years, but somehow I'm treated like an intruder, Kathy confessed, her voice filled with resignation. Yet I am somehow managing to live with these 2 who show no signs of leaving, Kathy acknowledged, her determination shining through the adversity. But little did I know that day would greatly change my life, Kathy reflected, a sense of foreboding creeping into her thoughts. That day, after finishing my online lesson and taking a break, the house was filled with Max's yelling, Kathy recalled, the tension rising with each memory. Hey old hag, we're out of shampoo. I can't wash my hair, she mimicked, the words stinging her ears even now. Despite being in the bathroom, his yelling reached all the way up to my room on the 2nd floor, Kathy remembered, the frustration evident in her tone. He is like this every day, so I'm used to being yelled at by him, Kathy sighed, resignation coloring her words. Not being very quick myself, I went to get the refill shampoo as quickly as I could. Kathy recounted the routine of her days unfolding before her. Here, I'm sorry I didn't notice, she offered, her attempt at peace met with disdain. Too slow. It took too long after I called. Make sure to check time. I'll be careful next time, Max retorted, his words cutting deeper than any insult. Without saying anything, he snatched the refill shampoo from me, Kathy admitted, her hurt palpable in the memory. At that moment, I accidentally cut my palm a little deeper with the refill bag, Kathy confessed, the pain of her physical and emotional wounds intertwined. Complaining here would just add fuel to the fire, Kathy sighed, her resignation evident in her tone. Sighing, I took a bandage out of my first aid kit, Kathy continued, the routine of caring for herself a small comfort in the chaos. Then Anna called out to me, "What, you got hurt? You're so clumsy," Kathy recounted, the sting of Anna's words still fresh in her mind. "It's almost dinner time. Isn't the meal ready yet?" "I'm hungry," Anna demanded, her entitlement grating on Kathy's nerves. "Oh, is it that time already? I'll start preparing right away," Kathy responded, her voice strained with the effort of maintaining composure. "Would you mind helping out, Anna?" Kathy asked, her hope for assistance met with resistance. "Ha! Why do I have to cook too? I'm not helping, so hurry up and get it done," Anna retorted, her disdain evident in her tone. When she was about to go, Max got out of the shower, Kathy recalled, the tension between them escalating with each passing moment. He seemed to sense the tension between her and me and interjected, Kathy remembered, the fleeting hope of understanding dashed by his words. "Anything happen? Don't tell me you were being nagged by the old hag," Max remarked, his indifference a sharp contrast to Kathy's pain. "No, nothing like that. She just asked me to help her with dinner because she got hurt," Kathy explained, her attempts at reason falling on deaf ears. She started talking to him in a sugary voice, completely different from her previous attitude, Kathy noted, the facade of civility crumbling before her eyes. "I recognized this routine and resigned myself to what was about to happen," Kathy admitted, the weight of her acceptance crushing her spirit. "So she forced you to help. Hey hag, you know Anna can't cook, right?" Max accused, his words like daggers aimed at Kathy's heart. "Are you kidding me with this? I didn't force her, I just asked if she could help. When she declined, I was going to do it myself," Kathy protested, her voice shaking with frustration. As I was explaining myself, she quickly wrapped her arm around his and began to argue, Kathy recounted, the betrayal of her son's allegiance cutting her deeply. "She told me she can't cook because she got hurt her hand. And the reason dinner was late was because she was sleeping, not working," Max defended, his loyalty to Anna blinding him to the truth. "Enough. Whether you said it or not doesn't matter now. The fact that you tried to make Anna cook is true. It's your fault, hag," Max accused, his words a final blow to Kathy's hopes for reconciliation. With that, he stormed off to the living room, his back to me, Kathy remembered, the pain of rejection washing over her like a tidal wave. At that moment, she stuck out her tongue in satisfaction as if it was a victory, Kathy recalled, the bitterness of defeat staining her soul. "And then followed him to the living room," Kathy concluded, her voice hollow with resignation. "He always took her side and never showed any." I caught sight of Max and Anna sprawled on the couch, their casual demeanor interrupted by my presence. Anna, quick to compose herself, straightened up and smoothed her appearance, flashing a fake smile as she greeted our guests. "Long time no see, Lily. You look more beautiful than ever, and Jake is handsome as always. Please sit down," she said, motioning for them to take a seat. Anna then gracefully excused herself from the couch and made her way to the kitchen. Once Lily and Jake settled in and started chatting with Max, I quietly followed Anna into the kitchen. There, Anna was busy preparing coffee for everyone except me. As I reached down to grab some snacks from a lower shelf, Anna's demeanor shifted. She leveled a thinly veiled threat at me, accusing me of not informing her about our guests' arrival. "I didn't hear anything about them coming over. Are you messing with me? I did let you know, Anna. You just chose to ignore it, making excuses again. You'd better watch it with that," she warned, her hand poised threateningly. Just as I prepared to shield myself, Lily walked in. Concerned, she offered to help and inquired about the situation. Anna, caught off guard by Lily's presence, quickly retracted her hand and feigned innocence. For the first time, I was taken aback. As Anna was about to hit me, my daughter Lily moved closer to me, positioning herself protectively between us. I recounted, relief flooding over me at Lily's intervention. What on earth was that about? Surely, Anna, you were trying to hit my mother, were you? Lily questioned, her tone incredulous. Of course not. I would never do such a thing. I saw something about to fall from the shelf, and I thought it was dangerous, so I was just trying to help. Wasn't I, mother-in-law? Anna quickly interjected, her voice dripping with false concern. Yes, that's right. You saved me, Anna. Thank you. I'll take care of the rest of the preparations, so please, just relax, I replied, playing along with Anna's charade to diffuse the tension. With that, Anna returned to the living room, her smile unwavering, but her eyes betraying no warmth. Despite her reassurances, I couldn't shake the feeling of fear that gripped me. Lily, sensing my distress, offered words of comfort, assuring me of her protection while she was there. And in that moment, her words were a balm to my frayed nerves, soothing the tension from my body. I breathed a sigh of relief when Lily entered the kitchen, breaking the tense atmosphere. If she hadn't, I was certain Anna would have followed through on her threat. Thank you. I feel better now, I managed, mustering a weak smile. Lily, perceptive as ever, saw through my facade. I know you, Mom. You will tell me even if I ask, but remember this, if you ever need help, don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be there for you anytime. Lily reassured me, her sincerity touching my heart. I nodded in agreement, grateful for her unwavering support. After that, the rest of the day passed peacefully. As night fell, Lily and Jake decided to head home after dinner. Anna offered to help prepare the meal, but Lily insisted she relax, perhaps having witnessed her earlier behavior. With Lily's assistance, dinner preparations went smoothly, and our conversation flowed freely in the kitchen. It was a pleasant change of pace, and for the first time in a while, I genuinely enjoyed myself. Once the meal was ready and we all sat down to eat, my eldest son praised Lily's cooking. "This is delicious, Lily. Your cooking is the best," he complimented. Despite my protests, he continued, comparing her cooking favorably to mine. Anna simply smiled and nodded, but Lily and Jake exchanged serious glances. The room fell silent until Lily addressed Max. "I think you're misunderstanding something, bro. Mom did all the seasoning," she explained. Max's expression darkened, feeling deceived. Anna's smile wavered, signaling trouble brewing. Just as tension threatened to escalate, Jake intervened, diffusing the situation with understanding. "I can totally understand. My mother-in-law's seasoning is similar to Lily's, so it can't be helped," he chimed in, easing the atmosphere. As we finished eating, Jake kept the conversation light with amusing anecdotes, restoring cheerfulness to the room. After Lily and Jake left and the cleanup was done, however, a dreadful incident unfolded. Max's demeanor shifted drastically as he hurled insults at me, reminiscent of my past with my ex-husband. Unlike his demeanor earlier, there was no restraint in his words. "Hey, you old hag, you really put me to shame today," he snapped. But I refused to be intimidated. "There's no such thing as shame, you know," I replied calmly, refusing to let his insults shake me. I learned that she had invited Lily and Jake over to get back at us. I overheard her and Lily talking. Anna chimed in, accusingly. "Anna, Lily, and I didn't talk about such a thing," I protested, but my words fell on deaf ears. "Shut up, you old hag." Anna wouldn't lie. "Enough with your acting," he snapped, kicking me suddenly. I tumbled to the floor, paralyzed with pain. But his assault didn't stop there. He approached me, kicking me repeatedly as I gasped for breath amid the agony. All the while, Anna watched with a giddy smile. "You're always useless, and it makes me sick," he yelled, his words barely registering in my hazy consciousness. Finally, he seemed satisfied and stopped kicking. Seeing my battered state, Anna burst into laughter, her cruelty piercing through me like a knife. Remembering the terrifying days of domestic violence with my ex-husband, tears flowed uncontrollably out of fear. But instead of compassion, their laughter only intensified. "What are you crying for? I don't want to see old ladies crying, you know, right, Anna?" he mocked, his words cutting deeper with each syllable. With a heavy heart, I realized I needed to leave this place as soon as possible, but my body wouldn't obey. "Pack your stuff quickly, old hag. Leave this house today," he demanded, his tone unforgiving. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. This house, filled with memories I had gathered over the years, was under my name. I had never even considered leaving. "Understand? Pack your things within an hour and get out." This is our house from today. Move quickly unless you want to be kicked again," he threatened, his words leaving me no choice but to submit. In agony, I started packing, tears streaming down my face out of frustration, fear for the future, and anger towards them. It was the first time I harbored a deep-seated resentment towards them and vowed to fight back. Once I finished packing, they wasted no time in kicking me out, barely exchanging a word. As I stood on the sidewalk, pondering my next move, the thought of my daughter Lily surfaced in my mind. Hailing the cab, I grasped at straws and headed towards Lily's home. Upon arriving at her house, I noticed the lights were on, and I rang the doorbell. Through the intercom, I heard her voice. When she realized it was me, she quickly opened the door, her expression a mix of surprise and concern. It was only natural. Moments ago, her mother was unharmed, but now I bore bruises, visibly carrying the weight of my ordeal. Lily immediately called for Jake to help carry my baggage, supporting my body as they led me into the house. She assisted me in removing my jacket and gently guided me to the couch. Despite my less than ideal condition, she meticulously assessed the extent of my injuries. Jake fetched a blanket to ensure I stayed warm, his actions reflecting their unwavering care and concern. After evaluating my injuries, which included multiple fractures and a significant bruise on my head, Lily suggested a visit to the hospital for further examination. Initially hesitant, I declined, not wanting to inconvenience them further. However, they insisted, and upon arrival at the hospital, the examination revealed the severity of my injuries. Though fortunately, there were no issues with my head, I was advised to stay for observation. 3 days later, I was discharged and returned to Lily and Jake's home. "I'm really sorry, both of you. I don't know how to apologize for causing you so much trouble," I expressed, overwhelmed with gratitude for their support. "Don't worry about it. We're just glad it wasn't life-threatening," Lily reassured me. "After we're settled in, can we ask what happened?" Reluctant at first, I knew withholding the truth wouldn't suffice, especially considering the severity of my injuries. So, I recounted everything from the verbal abuse to the terrible treatment from Max and Anna since we began living together. Lily listened in silence, her husband also lending his ear from a distance. After I finished my story, I mustered the courage to make a request to the two of them. "I hate to ask, but could I stay here for just a few days? I'll find an apartment that I can move into right away, so it's just until then," I begged tearfully. To my surprise, the response was unexpected. "Mother-in-law, please don't make that face. While you were in the hospital, Anna and I discussed this. We thought we should live together. What do you think?" Lily proposed, catching me off guard. Their suggestion of living together was something I never imagined. Overwhelmed with joy, tears streamed down my face. "Thank you," I said repeatedly, expressing my gratitude. They comforted me until I stopped crying. Afterward, we decided to live together, the three of us. Lily and Jake made a proposal to give Max and Anna a taste of their own medicine for all the terrible things they had done. "But is it okay to do something like that to your own brother?" I questioned. Lily's response was resolute. "I can't forgive those two. I believe they must not be forgiven." Seeing her determination, I agreed to the proposal, entrusting them to handle everything. Around the time the month changed, I received a call from Max. "Hey, we had no idea there was still a mortgage on the house, and now we got a summons to court." "What's going on?" he demanded, his tone accusatory. "I never said there was no mortgage. It's your house now. You should be the one to pay," I replied calmly. Max's response was heated. "You gotta be kidding. We can't afford to pay that much. It's your house, you built it, so you should pay till the end," he argued. Refusing to accept responsibility, I stood my ground. "It was you who kicked me out, so it's not my business," I retorted. Max's threat hung in the air as he abruptly ended the call. Trembling with fear, I realized the gravity of the situation, but believing Lily and Jake were on my side, I managed to calm myself. When I later informed Lily and Jake about the call, they seemed unsurprised. "Mom, just ignore his calls from now on," Lily advised. Following her guidance, I obediently complied. Since then, I've been receiving calls almost every day from Max and Anna, but I steadfastly obey her advice. I continue to ignore the relentless calls. One day, they showed up at Lily's place. I was in the middle of an online lesson at the time and wasn't privy to the initial conversation. After my lesson, as I headed to the living room, I heard familiar voices. Peeking quietly, I saw Max and Anna pleading with Lily and Jake. "Please just lend us a little bit of money," they begged. Lily responded sternly, "How have you been handling your finances up until now? Weren't you contributing even a bit to your household?" "Well, we were paying our cell phone bills and insurance, but we never gave any money to my mother," Max admitted. Lily and Jake exchanged stunned looks and let out a sigh. "So you're saying that Mom was covering all expenses, including utilities and food, and despite that, you treated her like a maid, verbally abused her, and eventually assaulted her and drove her out of her own house? We don't have a single cent to lend to people like you guys," Lily said firmly. "What do you mean by verbal abuse and assault?" Max hesitated, prompting Jake to step in. "I agree with Lily. When we found Mother-in-law, she was in a terrible state. She even had to be hospitalized. That's clearly a crime," Jake asserted. At this point, Max grew defensive and attempted to lunge at Lily. I was about to intervene, but Jake swiftly got in between them. Effortlessly restraining Max, Jake maintained control while Lily called the police. Shortly after, the police arrived and took Max and Anna away. Once they were gone, I rushed over to Lily and held her close. "I'm glad you're okay. Really glad you didn't get hurt. Jake, thank you for protecting Lily," I expressed my gratitude. They both simply smiled in response, treating me kindly to put me at ease. Later, the evidence gathered by a detective and the lawyer Lily and Jake hired ensured we would receive a substantial amount of punitive damages from Max and Anna. It was then revealed that they had each been having affairs and were in a messy situation. Now, not only did they have financial issues, but they also had marital problems to face. Free from my abusive son and his wife. Once I regained my freedom, I started to heal, venturing outside again with a newfound sense of peace. Despite this, I still received occasional contact from Max, a clear violation of the court-ordered no-contact rule between us. Each time this happened, I promptly contacted my lawyer, who handled it with strict adherence to the law. One day, while at the supermarket, I bumped into our old next-door neighbor, who shared some interesting news. Apparently, Max and Anna were constantly embroiled in arguments about money and infidelity. Anna's true nature had finally come to light, acting as the catalyst for their impending divorce. As a result, they had decided to put their house up for sale. Meanwhile, my private investigator unearthed some revealing findings about Max's downward spiral. His involvement in police matters, lawsuits, and now his divorce had become the talk of his office. His inflated ego led to him quitting his job immediately, and he was dumped by his affair partner. Now, he works part-time and is homeless, spending his nights in parks and abandoned buildings. As for Anna, she had been staying with the man she was having an affair with, but she too was recently dumped. Now, she's seeking work in live-in jobs, attempting to rebuild her life from scratch. Her once beloved hobbies such as nail art and other fashionable activities have been abandoned, and she's now living a humble existence. Meanwhile, I decided to buy back our old house, which had been put up for sale. After some renovations, I now live there with my daughter Lily and her husband Jack. Lily, with her qualifications in aromatherapy and massage, suggested opening a small shop on the spare land we had. We've been managing well, offering physical lessons in the shop, selling items, and running a reservation-based aromatherapy massage service. Returning to our own home brings happiness every day. I am grateful to Lily and Jack, who took care of all the complex issues like private investigators and lawyers, which I found hard to handle. Their support has enabled us to achieve our current lifestyle. I have a wonderful relationship with Lily and Jack, and recently, I received the delightful news that Lily is pregnant. I can't wait to hold my grandchild in my arms. Looking ahead, my life will only become more joyful, and I consider myself very fortunate. I cannot thank them enough.